Good evening. Welcome to Expat Insights. I'm your host Raju Mandhyan. Here at Expat Insights, we take external views of internal successes. And you know that there's a pun involved in there. When I say external successes, I talk about material successes, but internal successes are human successes inside. And we ask questions of foreigners, expats, and immigrants who have made Philippines their home and have succeeded internally here. But tonight we are breaking the rule. We have a guest here who's not a foreigner. She's 100% Filipina, a tuna in a Pinay, blue-blooded Bicolana, teacher, trainer, consultant, and a mentor of mine, Dean Rose Fuentes, president of the Southeast Asian Interdisciplinary Institute, and she's here to talk about appreciative inquiry. So let's welcome Dean Rose. Buenos dias, Dean Rose. Welcome to Expat Insights.
Good morning, good morning,
It's
Raju.
evening, Dean Rose.
Oh, good evening, Raju. Sometimes good morning will wake you up.
Yeah, so this is evening now. Thank you very much. So thank you for being here.
And thank you for inviting me, Raju.
All right. I have a question of you.
If I can answer it.
You have been in the teaching, training, and the consulting industry for the last so many years. What is that one thing that you remember as your best moment in this industry, Dean Rose?
My best moment is when I remember this very successful person that I look up to, and then I didn't know that he considered me as his mentor, and suddenly he introduces me to someone who is an equally successful person, and he said, my mentor, and I learned a lot from her, and I felt so humbled by this guy. And everyone knows this guy, but I won't tell his name because I didn't ask permission. And it's a lift in the sense that that's one moment that you cannot buy with all the millions that you can earn in this world.
Now, how long ago did this happen, and what parts of this memory, this wonderful memory or this wonderful experience becomes you, Dean Rose?
He said that to me some 8 years ago. And that became even another turning point in my life, where I have to be more dedicated to be a mentor to others and to myself. I cannot be a mentor to others if I'm not a mentor to myself. And every day of my life, I ask the question at the end of the day, what is the best thing that I learned today?
You can't share the name of this person.
No, I can't.
Let's call him Mr. XYZ.
Well, he's a big man in the world of business
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
Philippines.
Yeah.
He's loved by the people who are not from media,
Yeah.
but he doesn't care if he is not loved publicly. But he's a very hardworking, simple man.
So this effect that he had on you, this impression that he created on you, you still carry it, and how do you employ that strength that he gives you, the memory gives you?
The first thing that comes to mind in this conversation is when I'm becoming impatient,
Yeah.
and that's when it hits me, because that's a moment when I have to learn patience. And so I would hear his voice, and that will give me a lot of consolation. And it's almost like a lotto prize for me, because I am a woman not known for my patience. But when I overcome my impatience, it is because I have mentored myself, and this came from a mentee, supposedly.
Oh, so this was a reverse.
It's a reverse.
Reverse learning.
And this is the humbling thing about it.
All right. Dean Rose, now you are the president and the dean of SAIDI, Southeast Asian Institute of Interdisciplinary Institute. What do you teach there? What happens at SAIDI?
SAIDI is a small executive school.
Right.
It can never be in the league of the big schools, but I know what it means to be in a big school because I've been with 10 to 8 years with Ateneo de Manila.
Correct. Yeah.
And the bigness of SAIDI is in the way it allows its learners to grow.
It allows the learners to grow bigger than itself.
Yes.
Okay.
And also how the foundation school has grown big, but not in your ordinary definition of big.
And how old is Saidi? How
35
many?
years old.
35 years?
Yeah.
And how long have you been at the helm of it?
I've been dean for the past 13 years.
Yeah.
I've been president for the past 9 months, full-term pregnancy.
Okay, all right. Now, what is that you teach at Saidi? What kind of work, what kind of discipline do you teach at Saidi?
The main focus at Saidi is really preparing leadership for change, for planned change.
Do you call that organizational development?
Organization development,
Yeah.
and that is the only niche that we're creating. We are a school for executives,
Yeah.
and the number one requirement to be in the program is that you are part of the decision-making process.
Right.
If you're not yet part of the decision-making process, we tell you to wait a while.
Yeah.
And so we grant an MA degree in organization development
Yeah.
and a PhD in organization development. And
What
we are
exactly is organizational development for the common man? What exactly
for the
does
common
it-
man is really being able to manage change. That's the whole landscape.
So it's
of
not change
organization.
management, it is something different compared to change.
It's the same. It's managing change is change management.
All right, all right. And where does it get placed in a business setup? Does it get placed in the operations, in the human resource side, or does it get placed in the forefront of the business, marketing and selling?
Our school of thought
Yes, ma'am.
insists that organization development must be at the top level, and it must be right under the office of the president.
Oh,
If
all
you
right.
put it under HR, it's a staff
Driven yeah.
work. And
Yeah.
while you may have little streaks of successes of OD,
Right.
it may not be as, it would not carry as much impact
Oh, yeah.
if it
okay.
were part of the top leadership.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Does it become, if you put OD somewhere at HR or in the operations, then it becomes like putting a horse somewhere inside the cart? Would that be a right analogy for it?
It depends. If your horse is big and your cart is small, I don't think it would fit.
Right.
But if your horse is a baby horse and you have a truck, then still the analogy is weak.
It is.
The horse must be in front of the cart, and that's where it becomes very powerful.
Okay. You have personally been a consultant to several industries and several heads of companies, no? Would you like to share us a story of having created change or managed change for this industry as a consultant?
Maybe my favorite story from among my experiences is the story of the time when I used appreciative inquiry
Yeah.
with a religious congregation.
Yeah.
And this religious congregation, funny, the story is something like this. The leadership of the congregation invited me to teach them, to prepare them for their coming General Assembly. And
Right.
so they asked me to do the usual thing that we do, which is the OPS, which is the technology of SAIDI, but it is very problem-based,
What is OPS?
organizational planning system.
Okay.
And out of the 50 leaders of that congregation, there was one sister, cute little old sister, who kept on asking questions, and I saw that the others were getting agitated because they seemed to have perceived her as a roadblock. And the question was, I cannot understand, Dr. Fuentes, why everything has to be a problem. And
She said that.
she said that.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me, everything was a problem because I was using a problem-solving framework.
Right,
And then I
right.
said, what's your concern, sister? Well, I am in charge of a small office that is just 3 years old. And there are...
She said this.
She said this, and she said, I don't see problems, I see challenges. And immediately it hit me, she doesn't need this framework. And so I said, okay, can I spend some time with you during the workshop? And
She asked you or you asked
I
her?
asked her,
Yeah.
and I said, perhaps I can give you an alternative.
She said that.
I said that to
Okay,
her.
yeah.
And she said yes. And so she kept quiet, and I made everyone happy.
Yeah.
And so while the others were doing their problem analysis, problem solving, whatever, I sat down with her and I talked to her about appreciative inquiry. And she said, what is this? And I said, this is the exact opposite of problem solving. You don't look for problems, but you look for things that work.
But prior to that, you didn't profess or practice appreciative inquiry.
No, because I was brought in to teach them the process of organizational planning system, the usual thing. And she said, can you teach me overnight this thing? I said, I can give you a very, very beginning handbook.
A brief encounter, yeah.
And then I'll give you overnight to read it, and then tomorrow we sit in one corner and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of a new thing for this sister. And all the sisters were happy during the rest of the 3 other days because there was nobody who was making kulit. I mean, pestering the facilitator with questions and
the proceedings that are going on.
Yeah, that they could not relate to. And yet when he would bring out his report, and during the plenary session, they were awed by her report. They were happy because she was taking them to a different perspective.
Different level, different place, yeah.
So after that experience, 1 month later, the Mother General calls for me. And the Mother General said, what did you do to this sister? And I said, why? She is very happy on the job. She used to be always talking about challenges and nobody understanding her. Now she's just up and about, uppity.
You ignited her with hope and inspiration.
And then she said, I just made her read a book. And I sat down with her. Then she said, can you also give me that book?
Can you read me that book too?
Yeah, and I want to share it with my key leaders.
Right.
And that's the story. They read a book, and after 3 weeks they said, can you lead this congregation into a learning process that will prepare us for our National Assembly using this technology? And I said, if this is what you wish.
2 questions, Dean Rose. When did this happen? How many years ago?
About 6 years ago.
And what are we talking about? What is this technology? You use the word appreciative inquiry. Would you like to define it for our viewers here?
Appreciative inquiry is a concept. It is a philosophy. It is a process.
Okay.
It is a concept in the sense that it invites you to think differently.
It's abstract, but makes you think. Okay.
It releases you from an old paradigm. It is a philosophy because when you subscribe to it, then you embed it into your way of life.
So it becomes a part of your living system. It becomes a part of your DNA. And that's the very conceptual description of it. But for a user, a practitioner, what do they do with it? What exactly are the steps of appreciative inquiry?
There is a